Welcome to the post-match analysis of the French Open final between Djokovic and Tsitsipas. What an epic battle that was. It lasted more than 4 hours, and both of these guys, hats off how they played, how well they played, and both of them had come from a difficult match in the previous round, and still they were able to perform at their best. And the way Tsitsipas started the match, it was his first final, but it seemed like he is an experienced player and he has won a lot of Grand Slams. That's how he started. And again, congratulations to Novak on an amazing comeback. To do it against Nadal and then back to back and come back against Tsitsipas and perform at the same level after being 2 sets to love down. I don't know how he managed to make that comeback, and we'll try to analyze some of these points. So let's get started. So looking at the statistics here, the key point to note is the number of aces that Tsitsipas hit. So he hit 14 aces. That means he was serving really well. And before the match, we had discussed that Tsitsipas's serve and forehand will be the key for his performance. And I think it proved to be the same. He hit a lot of aces, lot of good first serves, and he won a lot of cheap points in the match, which was unexpected because Djokovic is such a good returner of the ball, but still Tsitsipas' serve, because it has power, it has speed, so he was able to perform well on his serve and was able to win a lot of cheap points. And then his forehand, of course, most of the winners came from his forehand wing, and it was really aggressive. Now I have to mention here that there was a significant difference in the approach that Djokovic had to make in his match against Nadal and then in his match against Tsitsipas. Now, Nadal is a lefty, so when Djokovic is hitting his cross-court forehand, it goes to Nadal's backhand, and he usually gets a weak reply. That is why you would have seen Djokovic was hitting his forehand against Nadal with a lot of topspin, and it was not coming back with a lot of interest from Nadal. But here, because Tsitsipas is also a righty and his forehand is his strong wing, when Djokovic was trying to implement the same strategy, he was hitting the cross-court forehand with a lot of topspin. Tsitsipas was actually able to attack that ball, and that is what was causing a lot of issues to Djokovic in the first couple of sets, because maybe it was a strategical mistake, or maybe he was coming back from the last match, so he had that muscle memory. So whatever it was, but Djokovic was constantly hitting into Tsitsipas's forehand, which was actually playing in favor of Tsitsipas, and he was hitting a lot of good forehands cross court Tsitsipas with aggression, and Djokovic was stranded on the baseline. He was short of time to adjust to that ball, and he was losing a lot of points there. Now if you see the winners and enforced errors, both of them performed at a very high level. You can see that the ratio between winners and enforced errors is positive for both of them. In fact, Tsitsipas has more winners as compared to Djokovic, but then the problem is, after first two sets, Tsitsipas's level dropped a little bit. He was also running out of gas physically, and his forehand, it showed in his shots. The speed on his forehand reduced in sets 3, 4, and 5. He was also starting to hit with a lot of topspin, which actually played in favor of Djokovic, because Djokovic wanted to be involved in the rally so that he can control the overall point using his cross-court backhand and also his forehand topspin, so that he could direct those balls towards Tsitsipas's backhand, which is slightly his weaker wing in the whole context of the match. Now we have put two more interesting stats here. So first serve percentage in set 4 and 5, Djokovic was 74. So, and how he did it? He reduced the speed on his serve and provided more kick. So he knew and he understood that if he is missing his first serve, then Tsitsipas was attacking his second serve and winning a lot of points. So that's a subtle adjustment that Djokovic made in sets 4 and 5, where he made sure that he puts more first serves in, even though it's not an ace, but at least it gets him started on a good term on the point, and then he can control the point from the back of the court. So he had that confidence, Djokovic, in his abilities, that if he gets a first serve in and he starts off a point on a good note, then from the back of the court, on from the baseline, he will be able to control the points, and that is what the case was in sets 4 and 5. And you can see Tsitsipas's statistics there, 67 and 52%. So his first serve definitely was not up to the mark in sets 4 and 5. And also, one more interesting stat is the unforced errors in sets 3, 4, and 5. So, after losing the first couple of sets, Djokovic really reduced his unforced errors, quite similar to his match against Nadal, and he started playing more aggressively. So, a deadly combination, reducing the unforced errors, started hitting with more aggression, with more power, and also he started playing the big points really well. In first couple of sets, although Djokovic was not playing badly, but Tsitsipas's level was just over the top. He was playing exceptional tennis, Wawrinka-like in 2015. It seemed like history might repeat itself and Tsitsipas may be able to upset Djokovic, but then gradually his level dropped and Djokovic somehow came back into the match. Now the key shots in this match, as we had discussed previously, were the Tsitsipas's forehand, the Djokovic forehand down the line, because a lot of the times Tsitsipas's forehand cross court was really aggressive and it was on the side of the baseline and it was too good. So Djokovic had to change the direction of that ball and he had to use his forehand down the line, which he used effectively in sets 4 and 5 so that he could neutralize Tsitsipas's forehand and come back into the point and make Tsitsipas hit his backhand. So that was an important shot. Then of course Djokovic's backhand, which is already very good, and he hit a lot of cross-court backhands, directed the ball to Tsitsipas's backhand, which is also actually good. Tsitsipas made a very few unforced errors of the backhand wing, but the problem is his backhand is not a match-winning shot, or he doesn't hit it with a lot of speed, and that was the issue. He even used the backhand down the line on a few occasions, Tsitsipas, but I think he should have used his backhand down the line more to open up the court. But and then Tsitsipas's serve, of course, that was the key shot from the beginning of the match. He was winning a lot of cheap points, and even during the end of the towards the end of the match, where it seemed like Djokovic will get a double break and will easily finish the final set. Even then, Tsitsipas's serve came to his rescue, and he was able to hit a lot of good serves and use his forehand to still stay in the match. Now, a few significant factors in this match were the first set tiebreaker. Now, there were a couple of breaks already in the first set. First, it looked like Tsitsipas would win the first set. Then, Djokovic had a break. He was serving for the set at 6-5. It looked like maybe Djokovic will be winning the first set, but then it all came down to the tiebreaker. And in the tiebreaker, we'll see in the upcoming screenshots, there was a very, very significant point at 6-5 where Djokovic had the set point, and then towards the end of the first set, I think Tsitsipas produced his best tennis at the most opportune moment, and that is why he was able to win the first set tiebreaker. And let me remind you, this first set tiebreaker lasted more than an hour. And as you had seen in the earlier match against Nadal, the third set tiebreaker proved out to be very crucial, and so was this tiebreaker. Because the second set, if you see, Djokovic was rattled, he was not able to hit his shots, Tsitsipas's level was the same, and the second set went pretty quickly in favor of Tsitsipas. So it was all an impact of the first set because Djokovic was playing good, was playing well, he had his chances, but then Tsitsipas was just better at the opportune moments, and this actually struck Djokovic pretty hard. He was unsure what to do in the second set because he himself was playing well, but still it was not good enough, and that is where I think Tsitsipas reminded us of Wawrinka of 2015. And then in the third set, I think Djokovic somehow maintained his level. I would not say that in the beginning of the third set he was playing really well, but Tsitsipas's level dropped and he was not hitting the ball with that much of power, and it provided Djokovic a slight opening, and he understood that Tsitsipas may be struggling physically or maybe his level has dropped, his forehand is not that strong right now, and that is why Djokovic started hitting with a lot of topspin and started exploiting more of the Tsitsipas's backhand. So if you see the third set, Djokovic started winning the big points, the important points, and then it had an impact on Tsitsipas, whose confidence also dropped after the third set. And the fourth set was a giveaway basically. Once Djokovic had the break, I think, and then he had the double break, and after that, Tsitsipas and Djokovic both had decided that the fourth set has to be over. So they were not taking too much risks. They were not running too much. Djokovic was serving well and just hitting winners, and Tsitsipas was just going for broke. He was not trying to have too much focus on the fourth set apart from his serve, and that is why the fourth set went pretty quickly. But in the fifth set, I think Djokovic's tactical change played a big role. He was now going to Tsitsipas's backhand on each and every important point, and whenever Djokovic was hitting his forehand, he was actually hitting with a lot of aggression now as compared to the initial couple of sets, and that is why it was not easy for Tsitsipas to control his forehand, as well as he was having to hit a lot of backhands himself, and that gave an opening to Djokovic. And I think the last point is Djokovic's performance under pressure in set 5. Now, even though Djokovic had the momentum after sets 3 and 4, but still in set 5 he had to get the victory, he had to perform well, and Tsitsipas was not going away. Even though he was broken and it looked like again a double break was on the cards, but Tsitsipas kept performing well at the big moments. He kept hitting winners, he kept hitting good serves, and he stayed in the set. And even in the final game where Djokovic was serving for the championship, it was 5-4 and it was 30 all. I think at those points as well, Tsitsipas played really well, and we'll see in the upcoming screenshot how he saved his first match point. That was amazing to hit a backhand winner down the line. Match point down was an amazing shot from Tsitsipas, and I thought it might be enough for him to come back. But then again, Djokovic's performance under pressure is always good against no matter who is playing, whether it is Nadal or Federer. He always plays well on big points. And even after that winner, facing that winner from Tsitsipas, Djokovic came back. There was a huge rally, and Djokovic hit a winner at the end, controlled his aggression, and then he was able to close out the match. So one thing I would like to mention here, I think Djokovic really needs to work on his overhead. We have seen it throughout the tournament, especially against his matches against Nadal and yesterday against Tsitsipas, that he really struggles with the overheads. Now you can see here, Djokovic versus Nadal, he is struggling with his smash, and even the same happened in this match as well. He struggled a lot. He missed two or three very easy overheads, so not sure what is the issue, but I think he definitely needs to improve on that shot, because there are moments, there are points. If on a very big point he needs to hit an overhead, I think he struggles usually. Now here is one of the examples. Initially in the set, you can see Djokovic is serving to stay in the set. The score is 5-4 and 30 all, and Djokovic is in the middle of the court. But the forehand that Djokovic has hit is with a lot of topspin, and you can see that Tsitsipas is way behind the baseline. But because Tsitsipas is not Nadal, and this is not his backhand, it is actually his weapon, his forehand. That is why I think this was not a good strategy from Djokovic to go to Tsitsipas's forehand, because you can see even from that position, Tsitsipas could hit and was hitting very good forehands, very aggressive forehands, and the green lines you can see, these are the trajectories that Tsitsipas's forehand could take. And if you see the actual point, you will see that he hit an absolutely great cross court forehand, and it took the point away from Djokovic. So I think this was an not a good strategy in my opinion. Maybe because of the last match, Djokovic was still in the habit of hitting those cross court forehands with topspin, but he had to realize later on in the match that it was Tsitsipas's bread and butter shot, and he was hitting it very nicely. So Djokovic should have stayed away from this shot as much as possible from the beginning of the match. And here you can see, it's a set point for Tsitsipas, just the next point that we discussed. And here you can see Djokovic actually hit an inside out forehand to Tsitsipas's backhand, and he was eventually able to win the point and save the set point. So it was quite simple. If Djokovic was going to Tsitsipas's forehand initially in the first couple of sets, he was more often than not losing the point because Tsitsipas's forehand was too good. So at any cost, he had to avoid Tsitsipas's forehand. Now it's easier said than done, but I think that was the strategy that he should have taken from the first point. Because when you see matches against like Nadal versus Federer at the French Open, or even Djokovic versus Federer at the Wimbledon, you always know that Djokovic will try to attack Federer's backhand, Nadal will try to attack Federer's backhand, and similar should have been the case here. Djokovic should have attacked his backhand from the get-go. But initially, I think Djokovic was feeling it and trying to play cross-court forehands, and he was losing a lot of points because of Tsitsipas's huge weapon, that is his forehand. And again, the same thing. He saved the set point, and again, you can see Djokovic hitting a good cross court, uh, a good inside out forehand, and then again hitting the ball to Tsitsipas's backhand and again winning the point. So, whenever Djokovic was in trouble, he had to go to Tsitsipas's backhand in order to win the point. And this is another example of the first set. Djokovic and Tsitsipas both are in the middle of the court, and Djokovic's forehand is not, that deep. And Tsitsipas, you can see, has both the options. He can either go cross court or down the line from with his forehand. And because at the beginning of the match, Tsitsipas was performing at an exceptional level, this point was absolutely over. Now, this is the point that we discussed during our statistics discussion, that this was a key moment in the match, and if Tsitsipas would have won this match, I would have given the credit to this specific point here. Now you can see the score line. It's the first set tiebreak. Tsitsipas is down 5-6. Djokovic has the set point here. Djokovic hit a very good return, aggressive return on Tsitsipas's serve. It came very close to the baseline, but Tsitsipas didn't have to move, but he had to control the ball, and he hit an absolutely gem of a forehand winner down the line, as you can see in the green arrow, and he saved this set point. Even Djokovic had to applaud and nod in the approval of Tsitsipas's brilliance here. I think this point was very important. If Djokovic would have won this set, I think he would have won this match far more easier than what he did in the end. And hats off to Tsitsipas for performing at such a high level in such an important moment. And again, it continued. So now the scoreline, you can see it's the next point, it's 6-all. And again, because Djokovic was not hitting the ball with aggression initially in the first couple of sets, he has hit a backhand cross court, but he has hit a loopy backhand cross court. And what it does is it has given Tsitsipas chance to run around his backhand and explore his forehand. Now, mind you, it's an important point. Tsitsipas knows, just like Federer, that he has to run around his backhand in order to create more chances, and this is what he did. He moved around his backhand, he hit a good forehand, inside out forehand, and it caused an unforced error from Djokovic and gave him the set point. And now this is set point, and Djokovic is facing 6-7 is the score in the first set tiebreaker. And then again you can see that Tsitsipas's forehand was lethal, and he's in a good position. So he hit a very good forehand cross court, and then Djokovic was late in reacting, and Djokovic hit the ball outside, as you can see is denoted by the red line. And this is how Tsitsipas was able to get the first set. Huge performance in the first set tiebreak, and I think this is what resulted in the first set. Now, even in the second set, because Djokovic was rattled, he was out of ideas, he didn't know what to do, and it also reflected in his strategy. So again, he was still going to Tsitsipas's forehand, and because he was rattled, because he was confused, he was not hitting the forehand with a lot of power, Djokovic. And you can see again, it's in the middle of the court. Djokovic has just hit a forehand, but you can see Tsitsipas again has the chance to go either down the line or cross court, and this is how he again won the point, and he was performing well in the second set as well. And now this is the third set, and you can see how the strategical change, the tactical change helped Djokovic. So now here, Tsitsipas is facing a break point, and he has hit a good cross-court forehand, which is denoted by the yellow line here. But Djokovic now, instead of going again cross-court with his forehand, Djokovic changed his tactic. He went to the Tsitsipas's backhand and hit a very loopy ball on the defense, and it helped him get the upper hand in this rally, and he was able to break then and get a 3-1 lead. And again in the fourth set, the score is 1 love. Djokovic is facing love 15, although he has the break. And here also you can see, instead of going to with the percentage shot, which is going in the middle of the court or maybe trying to hit into the open court, Djokovic decided to pepper Tsitsipas's backhand, and he hit it very aggressively, and hence he was able to win the point again. Another example, now these are two specific returns that really hit Tsitsipas's chances in the match. Now it's the fourth set, Djokovic had a break, and then he decided that he will be really aggressive. It reminded of the match against Murray, if you remember, at the Australian Open 2012. I think it was the semi-final between Djokovic and Murray, and there also it was the fourth set where Djokovic just decided to hit winners on the return, and Murray was not even chasing the balls, and similar was the case here. So this is the first point in the game. It was a good cross-court serve from Tsitsipas, but Djokovic hit a fantastic return which landed just near the sideline and the baseline, and Tsitsipas has had no chance. And this is the next point again. This time Tsitsipas hit his serve down the tee, but again Djokovic went for a winner on the return, and again you can see it's right on the line, and it's love 30 for Djokovic. These were important points because it helped Djokovic gain the advantage and also gain the double break. Now it's 4 love in the fourth set. It's 2 love, another breakpoint for Djokovic, and because now Djokovic had the confidence, he knew that Tsitsipas was not performing at his best level. Djokovic opened up his shoulders and he hit a fantastic drop shot here, and Tsitsipas had no chance. He was also struggling physically. He was tired. So it's all about confidence. I mean, in the end, if you see in the second set, Djokovic was rattled, but here you can see he's so much confident that he's trying the different shots that he has, and he also knows when to hit which shot. And this is the sign of a positive player, a player who is confident. Now it's the fifth set, and again, as I had mentioned before, Djokovic, instead of going cross court with his forehand, he again went down the line with his forehand just to attack Tsitsipas's backhand, and this was really important to get the break in the fifth set. So his strategy actually got better towards the end. He always tried to go to Tsitsipas's backhand whenever in trouble or whenever on a big point, and it really paid off in the end. And you can see the outcome of the previous shot. It was a deep shot, and Tsitsipas had no chance. It was near his shoelaces, the ball, and he was not able to control his backhand. Now it's the fifth set again, and here you can also see Djokovic applying the same strategy. He has just hit his forehand, and it was quite a loopy forehand, and you can see how back Tsitsipas is behind the baseline when hitting his backhand, and the backhand was also at the shoulder level. So now it was difficult for Tsitsipas to move, run around his backhand because he was tired. So obviously he was not able to run around his backhand more often. He had to hit his backhand, and that is what the problem was. This provided Djokovic with the ability to control the point from the back of the court, and it also resulted in the victory. And here we can see Djokovic's defense. What an amazing defense he has. Now it's 4-3. Djokovic has the break in the fifth set. It's 15-love. Tsitsipas hit a good shot. He's close to the net. Now just by looking at the pick, it's very difficult to see Djokovic winning this point. Okay, and he's even not facing the court. He's facing the back of the court. Still, he hit a very good lob, and Tsitsipas had to move a little bit, as you will see in the next picture. And you can see Tsitsipas is in the air trying to hit a smash, but Djokovic is already on the recovery. And then in the next picture, you will be able to see Djokovic hitting the winner here. So Djokovic hit the ball in the open court, and it was 30 love. Now, this is one of the amazing facts and one of the amazing shots that I mentioned earlier in the video. Now, it's match point to Djokovic, and Tsitsipas hit an amazing down the line backhand winner to save the match point. Now, this would have really disturbed Djokovic or any other player who is in such a pressurous moment, and it's about his 19th Grand Slam. He's just about to win the match after coming back from 2 sets to love down, and he will not have expected. No one would have expected Tsitsipas to hit such a good winner, being match point down. And hats off to Tsitsipas first of all, to still keep believing and going for this shot, and it was an amazing shot. And then again, hats off to Djokovic, because after this shot there was a huge rally and Djokovic was able to hit a winner in that rally and still come back and have another championship point, which he was then able to convert. So a fantastic match in the end, I would say. It's a victory for Djokovic. It's his 19th Grand Slam title. He's now just one away from Federer and Nadal. And one has to feel for Tsitsipas. I think he played his best match. The way he started the match, everybody was surprised because everyone thought it is his first Grand Slam final. There will be pressure on him, there will be nerves, but the way he started was amazing. It never looked like he was in any sort of pressure, and his performance in first couple of sets was absolutely brilliant. Even the world number one player like Djokovic was rattled, and he had no chances, no opportunities, and no ideas of what the strategy should be, because Tsitsipas was playing so well. The only thing I would say that Djokovic could have done better in the first couple of sets was maybe trying to go more towards Tsitsipas's backhand. Whether Djokovic was hitting his backhand or his forehand, both of the ways he had to go more on Tsitsipas's backhand, at least on big points, and then be a little more aggressive. But then as the match progressed, it's expected that the level would drop, because both these guys had played tough matches previously in the last round, so both were struggling physically, had to be struggling physically after those epic matches. And the level drop in the set number 3 really helped Djokovic to come back, and after that he did not look back. He is that kind of a player. Once he gets a chance, if he has done it against Nadal, I think he can do it against anybody else. And a great match. So it's just about the time. I think Tsitsipas's Grand Slam victory is very near. I would say in the next couple of years he'll definitely win a Grand Slam. He has all the capabilities, and he also has good temperament. So I think definitely he'll be winning a Grand Slam very soon. As for Djokovic, I think his eyes will be on Wimbledon right now. He will try to win one more and get to the 20 Grand Slams. And I think Nadal, if he plays Wimbledon, and Federer, all the three of them will have a chance at Wimbledon. And it's such an interesting point right now in tennis, where the number of Grand Slams are so close between these three guys, and it gets really interesting. I think these three players will be performing to their best, and let's see what happens. Thanks for watching.